Oh, good evening everybody, hope you're doing very, very well. I am on the way into the delightful hellhole, which is London. I hate this place with passion. And I thought I'd do a little video. I'm basically on my way in to do a little Christmas meal with some colleagues and ex-colleagues. Why not? Wang on the cameras. I'm trying a new mount as well. I bought a load of these. They're from a company called Small Rig. It's definitely a company from China. But, oh, my helmet's whistling, that's annoying. They seem really good. I bought some bits the other day, so I thought I'd give it a little testicles on the way into London. I'm going to have people telling me that I'm filtering too fast because they're scared. Nissan L Grand. I do always forget how good this bike is for filtering. I'm not going to get through that gap because I'm fatter than that. This is what commuting into London or riding into London's like. Click. Oh, what a guy! I looked over at that guy in the lorry, just gave me the nod as if to say, yeah, go on mate, I know you want to do that. What a legend. Oh, what was that, K monster? This is almost just content on its own. You can tell why Royal Jordanian got such a large following, because just sort of watching all of the people not paying attention and jumping out in front of you, people cross the road when you get further into London, people are on their phones, people are eating. Also, do you know you can scare new MGs? I've been waiting to film that for quite a long time. The new MG electric cars, you can scare them. You could just, like, if you get too close to them, all the hazards go off. What are you doing? You gonna... Oh, you're on your phone, that's why. I would have thought you'd be in a time when you could scare a car. God, people are being extra jumpy today. Why are they being extra jumpy? Everyone's trying to follow the ambulance up there. That's what people are doing. They're just trying to follow the ambulance. I'm on your right, on your left, mate. Oh, Scooperoo. Oh, 530i. I get really full-on ADHD hypersensitivity or whatever you want to call it when I'm in London, because I try and talk about a subject and then I just go, oh, pretty car, oh, bike. So I'm going to get all the way to work and not get anything talked about in this video. It'd be really fun, wouldn't it? I guarantee I get at least one comment on this video telling me that I'm filtering too fast. There's some people out there that think you can't filter more than 3 miles an hour. There's such a difference between the sides of this Super Duke with no mirrors on the sides of it versus the Super Adventure with all the bar end mirrors, the crash bars and all sorts of stuff. The gaps you can fit for on this Super Duke in comparison are just minuscule. And now I've done that, I need to do 4 miles an hour to make up the average speed. What was I going to say? I told you, you just get so sidetracked. Filtering or lane splitting is completely legal in the UK before someone kicks off about it. I thought I'd do a little bit of an update and also talk about the Motorcycle Live show. At the moment, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit, I don't know. Estimated time in traffic, 8 minutes. No, I'm on an motorcycle. Bikes of late haven't really been exciting me that much. I really fancy a Tesla Model Y, but I've never seen one on the road before. Oh wait. Excuse me. Daddy is coming through. Need to open my visor because it's dirty. Yeah, I'm really struggling to sort of get excited about new bikes recently. I don't know what it is, but to be fair, it's predominantly adventure bikes, because I love adventure bikes to bits. I think they're fantastic machines, and in theory they are the best bikes out there because, or one of the best bikes out there, because they're comfortable, they're upright, that you don't get any like fatigue on them type, or you very rarely get fatigue on them, and then they come with loads of tech and all sorts of shebang. One of the reasons I bought the 1390 was that I kind of just got a bit bored of adventure bikes, because you go anywhere now, you go to a bike cafe or anything like that, everything there is an adventure bike. They're fantastic bikes, so why wouldn't everyone have one? And I have one as well. when I see them, I don't really get that excited about them anymore. Like, they're all fantastic, and I don't think you can buy a bad bike nowadays. Even the really cheap sort of bottom end ones, yeah, they lack technology and power and stuff, but they're not bad bikes like they used to be. You can't get a crap bike anymore. These mirrors are actually really, even though they're tiny, they're actually really good for pointing exactly where you want. I didn't go to the Motorcycle Live event because nothing was really exciting me, to be honest. Oh, there was some nice pops. And I don't know, I just sort of sat there going, oh, thanks, mate. Thank you. Sometimes it's a really nice thing to go up there, spend a full day up there, wander around with a load of people, and just have a proper day out. And I guess if you've got young kids or you're new into biking, it's a fantastic thing to do because you kind of look and sit on everything you want. Daddy's coming through. I keep saying that, I really should stop. Little gentle acceleration there to assert dominance. Oh my god, there's no traffic for 3 meters. That's amazing. What is it temperature wise? It's now 10 degrees that I'm in London. When I left this morning it was like 6 degrees or something. I have no heated gear cable on and there's no heated seat on this bike or anything. These heated grips, even on medium, on the second setting, they are volcanoes. I am so impressed. I did order them when I bought the bike, but they were on back order from KTM. I've only just fitted them. My god, they're so good. Bob. Ride this whole length of road with no hands, and there will be people in the comments absolutely losing their shit. Oh my god, you shouldn't be doing that. You have no control over the motorcycle. I'm like, yeah, I do. Look. And if I need to change lane, I can do. Obviously, I'm not. Is there a car behind me? No. So I'll just quickly nip over to this lane. Oh, we'll nip back. My mum is going to be sat there going, Sam, I don't like it when you do that. Sorry, mum. But this is what happens when you're at a 30 mile an hour average speed restriction on a road that is definitely worth doing more than 30 mile an hour on. The 1390 Super Adventure, the Super Duke GT, the 390, the new 400 GS looked really cool, and there's a few other like miscellaneous ones that I was kind of interested in. Like, I'd seen them all. Like, I saw the 1390 Super Adventure stuff last year, like the pre-production models. I will hold on when I'm near vehicles just in case they decide to jump out on you. I saw a load of those at the Romania KTM Adventure Rally that I did, so I kind of didn't need to go and see them. The only one I hadn't really seen was the 400 GS. I was quite wrong. There was quite a lot to talk about, wasn't there? I guess the kind of highlights for me, very, very quickly, skim over. I don't need to talk about it massively because I've probably put it all over my Instagram story, let's be honest. The new Nortons, they are stunning looking bikes. Grayscale colour scheme they went for really downplayed how special they were. Like, normally you look at a really cool brand new Norton, it's like a really special pearl black and it's spattered with carbon everywhere, or it's like a black chrome or something like that, and they just look unbelievable. And the grayscale kind of just looked like primer. And I don't know whether that was part of the ploy of, oh look, these are in production, we don't want to release the new colours type thing. But it just felt a bit unfinished, in my opinion, and it looked a bit average. And also, the first time I looked at them, from the front, they just look like Ducatis, don't they? In the last couple of generations of Super Duke, they've done a Brabus version of it. I can see the appeal of having a special edition Super Duke Brabus version kind of thing. The execution's just never been to my taste. And I mean, I get it, they look really cool, they look different. I'm not really normally a fan of the modified cars as well, so you know, when Brabus are normally quite good, but you know, when you get like Onyx or Revere or all those different modified companies that will tar up Range Rovers and stuff, they all just look a bit bulbous and chavvy, and I think there's a select few of them that look okay and the rest of them just look awful. We've entered cyclist territory where cycling in the middle of the bloody lane for no reason. I saw a reel the other day that Richard Hammond said, and he basically just said cyclists are the only, like I cycle, he said cyclists are the only ones that don't ever feel like they've done anything wrong, and they should be immune to having to look out for themselves. Like, if I'm on a motorcycle, in a car, or insert other vehicle here, I am in charge of my own safety on the road to a point. Like, yeah, okay, you can't help it if someone just pulls out on you and stuff. For the most part, you look over your shoulder, you pay attention to what's going on. Cyclists just seem to do whatever they fancy. They pull across you, completely cut you off, and it's your fault. To be fair, it's only the ones that are on the line bikes and the rent-a-bike thing. Is this a prison van thing? Can I get through all of this? Yeah, loads of space, mate. The Brabus 400 thing just looked very bulbous. The front headlight was quite cool. I don't know, it looked a little bit... Someone's just sort of bought a load of stick-on panels. That is a huge amount of those kind of companies that do that kind of stuff. It's not, I'm taking off this panel and I'm replacing it with carbon fibre. It's like, oh no, we can save money if we just get this carbon fibre looking panel and stick it on the top. I'm sure most of you watch the Matt Armstrong videos where the Marcus Rashford's Mansouri edition Rolls Royce, so many of the parts were like 35 grand for a tiny bit of carbon fibre. They just basically used CT1 to glue it over the top. It was absolutely... I'd hate that if I was paying for that. Especially the amount of money you're paying for that. It's ridiculous. Quite a few people seem to like it. I just didn't really think it was that interesting. Oh, the one that was really cool, the last one I'll talk about, because I can't remember what else there was that I had on my list to talk about. The CF Moto concept. I don't know whether it was a concept or not, but that sports bike, water bike, like, that thing looked incredible. It was like if MV Agusta and Ducati like had babies. It was a stunning looking thing, and it had like active aero and all sorts of stuff. That sort of came out of the blue, and there's a very I wouldn't say viral, but a very prevalent photo of the lead designer of Ducati basically staring at the CF Moto, admiring it. And I was like, yeah, that's quite funny. This is London, everyone. Red light, speed camera ahead. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Nip in here. Thanks, taxi man. I love this bike so much. It's such a good bike. I have a feeling that CF Moto is gonna absolutely take over. Some of the bikes they're coming out with, very well priced, very well specced, great engine platforms with full luggage and all sorts of stuff for like 9.5 grand. It's absolutely mental. My front wheel is in a bike box. I am on a bike. If you're a cyclist and that annoys you that I've done that, I will stop doing this when cyclists stop jumping red lights. There's a deal for you. Case in point. Literally, as I said it. Very quick update from my part. Yeah, very quick update on my part before I get closer to work and turn the cameras off, because I don't want you lot to know where I park. Some scabby, I'm not going to say that word on YouTube, will try and steal my bike. Although I've got 30 bloody LiteLoks with me, so good luck. Oh, he's just jumped another red light. Super Adventure, I took it over to KTM yesterday, and they cleared the full code for the preload, and it didn't come back. All sorted, back on the road. The only thing I need to do is I want them to reprogram, because obviously I've swapped the engine. The quick shifter will be calibrated to the old bike, so I want them to recalibrate it to my bike basically, because it's a little bit chunky, as it were. So I'm going to get that done on Saturday, and then we're done on the Super Adventure, and I'm just in the process of like building it back up. I've got a really cool tower thing coming, but there's a company called Heiskoffer. I've probably butchered that name. It's a German or Dutch company, and they make these really cool towers with the help of my parents funding it for my Christmas present. I have got that on the way, which is going to be really cool, hopefully. So obviously a video will come. I need to do a review on the carpet eater, so I might pair that with that, which would be really cool. But I really like that carpet eater. When I went into KTM, I went and sat on the new 1390 Super Adventure. It's quite nice. There's a lot of people asking me if I'm going to buy one, and I can't, like, I don't know. Well, I knew I would want it, But I sort of thought, I mean, I've got this, I've got the I've got my own Super Adventure, which has lost all of its money because I've engine swapped it and it's got 60,000 miles on it. Originally, I thought it was a bit more of like a facelift, little update without much in the way of actually changing. There are a lot of little things they've done to it, which are just really nice. Like, I don't know, you probably would have all watched the reviews that like 44 Teeth and Bike World and all that lot have done. The switchgear looks nice, although I don't know, there's a little cruise control rabbit here, as Al said, called it the other day, that looks like you could probably snap it. But the switchgear looks really nice. Screen in person looks really nice. There's definitely space above the screen for like a dedicated nav as well if you wanted to use it, even though it's got it in the dash. A few people were worried about that. I had a load of messages about that, to be fair. But yeah, there's definitely space above, which I didn't think there would with a vertical screen. I've got an S25 Ultra Samsung. That fits in the phone port. There's a nice little rubberized sort of slot for your phone, which is cool. Plastics just look nicer and feel nicer. I think it's going to be a really nice bike. I will eventually get one. It's not at the top of my priority list at the moment. I think the top of my priority list is probably an enduro bike of some form. I need to pay off debt though. The last couple of months has been sodding expensive for me. I'm still mildly recovering from redundancy in Feb as well. The only other thing I will say is thank you very, very much to every single person that commented, shared, liked and all that sort of stuff on that on the videos recently from Movember Foundation. Hopefully by the time I put this video out I would have had the YouTube payment, but I'm hoping I should get a decent enough chunk from it, to 150, 200 quid or whatever it is. Thank you very much. I will put it on the screen and I'll put a receipt of my donation as well, so in case someone's going to go, I bet he didn't donate. I don't know what this camera is for, but it's probably to fine you for something. Thank you very, very much for listening to me ramble, be ADHD AF, distracted by 1,000,001 things and not talking about what I needed to talk about. Oh god, this thing smells so good. Move. Oh. I stalled it. I let the clutch out too far. Lol. Wish me luck that my bike doesn't get stolen. Speak to you later. Bye. Love you. Bye.